Hello again. Welcome back to the Flyin Style podcast. I'm your host, Matt Mitchell, here with my co-host, Stephen Masley.
What's up, Matthew?
And before we get started today, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the Philadelphia Phillies, getting their first postseason win since 2011.
The Fightins down 2-0 in the ninth, 1 out. Have no fear. Gene Segura is here. He gets the hit, takes the lead, and then we capitalize. We have Boom first he got hit in the pitch, and then Gene got the hit, and then Stock got a hit, and then bam. Next thing you know, Kyle Schwarber's hitting a sac fly. And next thing you know, it's 6-2 Phillies. And next thing you know, we win the game 6-3. Bang! First game in the books, 1-0. One more game winning.
You heard the man.
Let's go, Phillies.
I love the energy.
I know it's Eagles.
I love the energy.
It's amazing.
It's awesome to see a postseason dub. And before we get into it, also wanted to point out, Pick Swap Media now has their own merchandise. You can go get your own shirt just like this. May even do a little giveaway at some point. We'll see.
We will.
Stay tuned.
I'm gonna get a sweatshirt. It's gonna nice blue one with the decal in the middle. I like that. My favorite. I still have to get that in the mail. They don't ship over the weekend, I don't think. But my address is weird. But yes, go check that out. It'll be. I think it's in the bio of the Instagram.
And the Pick Swapped Instagram.
Yeah.
All right, you heard the man. So, with all that being said, let's jump into it. Eagles are playing the Cardinals this week on Sunday, 4:25. So, Maz, what do you think?
So, the Cardinals are a decent team. Now, when I say decent team, I don't mean I don't know what they are yet, and I don't think they know what they are. I think they could be they could be a playoff team, or they have potential just to be like very mid and nothing. So, they have 2 wins they had a decent schedule so far. They're coming off a win against the Panthers. They lost to the Rams and the Chiefs, which are 2 like decent teams. I know the Rams haven't showed it yet this year, but then they beat the Raiders. So they haven't played anyone other than the Panthers that have been like not such a great team. So I don't know what they are yet. And I like Kyler, and I don't love their defense. I love certain players on the defense. But other than that, they're a decent team. I think they're decent.
I agree. I think they're a decent team. I could agree with that. But I think that they're a more middle of the pack, lower end team this year, in my opinion. When I look at their weapons on offense, I don't really think that they're overly stellar. They're not bad, but they're not great. You know, you've got James Conner in the backfield. You've got Zach Ertz, who's a little bit up there in age, but playing well this year at tight end. You've got Hollywood Brown on the outside. And who's the new guy that we were talking about?
I forget his name.
Sorry, give me 1 second. Greg Dortch. He's a new player I really don't know much about, but he's their second leading receiver with 24 targets and 204 yards. So
they will get D-Hop back, so that will help them out as a number 1/1 and 1A, 1B option.
I just don't think their weapons are all that right now. I think that they're like I said, I think they're a middle of the pack team. I think they're finishing this year around 7-8 wins. I think that this should be a very handleable game if we play our cards right. So, with all that being said, once again, I just want to jump right into our offensive schemes that we're going to be running into, obviously. What do you want to see this week, Maz?
From our offense?
Yeah.
Their offense.
From our offense.
I just want to keep consistent. I want to throw the ball. I don't want to throw the ball. What do I want to do? I want to have a good mix. And I know we always say that, but I want to have a consistent mix. So I want this game to be like a 50-50 split, because I think some of their DBs are their strong point of their team, like their safeties, like Budda Baker and Byron Murphy. But Isaiah Simmons is a decent linebacker, and they have another decent linebacker in Zale. What's his name? Either way, I think that we have to keep them on their toes and have a good mix. If we can play our brand of football at the line of scrimmage, and then when they start attacking that, go over the top, I think if we have a good mix, we can move the ball on this team relatively, not easy, but relatively well if we play our brand of football.
Yeah, I agree. One of the biggest things that I noticed about the Cardinals is their defensive stats. And the first thing I want to point out was the Cardinals' points for this season. The Cardinals' points for this season is 22 points per game, and the Cardinals' points against this season is 25.8. So they're allowing about 3.8 more points per game than they're scoring, which is always a good sign for the offensive team playing them, and especially considering the way the Eagles have been playing. So I think that if we play our cards the right way once again, I think that we can really run the table on them. I don't think their D line's very good. A lot of their safeties are their two leading tacklers. So with that being said, you have to assume that most of their tackles are being made in the second level. I think that we should, start out with the run game, start strong with the run game. We saw what happened with Miles Sanders last week when he got 27 touches. He got, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think that if we start, pressing the run game early and then real quick, once the run game's set up, hit him with a play action. I would love to see a deep bomb to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. I want to see us firing on these guys. I think that we can hit a few big plays against these guys, considering that they're a little, I don't know what the right word is for it. They're just a little dysfunctional
Mediocre.
on defense. Yeah, they're a little dysfunctional on defense, and I think that we can very much take advantage of it, considering the way we've been playing.
So given that stat, giving them the benefit of the doubt, they did get murdered by the Chiefs week 1. They let up 44 points. So, and it's only been 4 weeks. So not that they have been exceptional other than that, but they only gave up 23, 20, and then 16. But there's against like lesser teams. But they're not. But either way, they're not an exceptionally like great defense, like you said. And I think as much as I want to mix, I want to see us pass the ball more just because last game we were so run reliant. And my lot is doubtful this game, and that scares me a little bit. I do want to see I mean, who's going to be rushing him?
Honestly, I mean, well, you got J.J. Watt rushing, but they really don't have a lot of big names on the D line. I really don't recognize a lot of their guys. And on top of that, Driscoll, he obviously we've talked about it. He started out a little slow last week. You weren't a big fan of the way he pass protected. I thought by the end of the game he really stepped it up. And on top of that, now he's got a game under his belt. Now he's got the speed, he's got the game time in. I think that he's going to look a little more comfortable in his pass set this week for sure.
No, you're right. He'll have first team reps all week, and he'll be going against our number 1 guys. So it doesn't hurt to go against our D line because our D line is one of the best in the NFL.
Exactly.
All week. Now that makes me a little bit nervous, but I do want to see us make like more A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, even Kez getting like a long ball. I want to see a big play. I want to see bigger plays this week.
I'd love to see a Quez deep ball. I feel like this week's a week for it. But, I've been saying it consistently throughout the year, and I'm sticking with it. I think I've seen nothing but success with it. Use the middle of the field with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Use those slants. Use those dig routes. Use those, use the middle of the field and make their linebackers, get into mismatches with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith in the middle of the field. It's worked every time we've done it this year, and I don't see any reason that we should not continue.
It makes a little too much sense because then you bring down Budda Baker and you bring down the other safety. And then next thing you know, when you do it 5 times, when they do
ball deep.
Yes, or you have Devonta Smith in a 1-on-1 matchup on the other side of another corner. If they bring it down, like you just have to get him in a zone where he's going to beat that. Like A.J. Brown is that guy. Like as much as I love Devonta Smith can too, but A.J. Brown can do it consistently, like almost every single time. He's a top 10 receiver in the NFL.
He's just so big, strong, and quick. It's hard to keep him off the line on a quick slant. It's really hard to, to not create separation on that from him. And, I think something that I want to bring up is that the Eagles have been really good on offense this year, so it's been working, and it hasn't been a big problem. But one thing I think I'd love to see from the Eagles this week is, like you were just saying, using their play calling to set up the big plays.
Yeah.
Like using the little things, like I said, running the ball, using that to set up play action passes, using play action passes to set up deep balls, using slants to set up deep balls, using deep balls to set up the middle of the field, spread them out, doing things like that, and just keeping them out of their comfort zone. We need to start like doing that more with our playing calling. I really haven't seen much of a trend in terms of our play calling. I feel like we kind of dud out at times when we start catching momentum, and like it's a little flustered.
No, and that goes back to like I don't know if we run like play action like at all. Like
because we don't run. It's because we run out of the shotgun 80% of the time.
I know, and then it's RPO.
And it doesn't help with the play action. It's like every time you see a play action out of the shotgun, it's almost like irrelevant because it's never really a smooth, transition with the, I forget what you call it.
Like a jet, like a sweep. It's like a body, like a stretch. But
the quarterback fake never looks that, legit.
No,
it's just, it's not the same as running somebody out of the I formation or having somebody out of like under center and having them run downfield at you.
Yeah, no,
it's not the same.
It's, I mean, it's not necessarily like we need to do that, but again, we mentioned this in the Jaguars game, which we were able to do. It's gonna end up. I just want to see 4 quarters because I still even in the Jaguars, the first quarter we didn't play super well. The third quarter we didn't play super well. I want to see us 4 full quarters under the best team in the NFL, and that's when we will like. That's when we can literally say that we can like go far in the play, like we can go to the playoffs.
I agree. Far. We have yet to see them play a whole 4 quarters. So
I mean,
there's still much to be improved on with this team. They have such a talented roster. They've been able to get away with the little things. And at some point that will catch up with them. I'm glad it hasn't yet. And they've been proving that it might not be a problem, but it probably would be if we continue this way. Like there's things that we can do to make us unstoppable. And I'm hoping the Eagles are picking up on that. And so far throughout the season, every time feel like I've noticed a glaring point, they've fixed it. And we've mentioned this in previous episodes. So hopefully they can notice this and get it moving.
No, I'm just excited for this game. And do you have anything else to say about the offensive side? I think we just got to keep doing what we're doing. I want big plays.
No, there's not a whole lot to be said. They just have to play their game, and they have to play it all 4 quarters. And if they do that, I think that we put up a lot of points on this team, considering they are letting up a lot of points, and they're not a very good tackling team.
Yeah. So flip sides of the ball, we're playing against a quarterback that is just has an absurd amount of attempts a game when throwing the ball. So Kyler, like in the Rams game, they put up 12 points. This man's still throwing the ball 58 times. And he's averaging around like mid 40s per like throwing attempts per game. And it's like kind of crazy to me that they're just slinging it. Like they're doing old school Big 12. They're doing Big 12 type football.
They're barely running the ball at all. I mean, in the past 4 games, James Conner only has 145 yards on the season. They're really they're not using the run game, which is probably one of their biggest problems. It's really hard to win without the run game. Having your quarterback throw 45 times a game is it's not ideal in any way. Your quarterback's taking more chances to get hit. Their arms getting more tired. They got more pressure on them. I think it's a bum point for them.
Well, it allows you to play a softer zone where you can play people back and over the top, where you can literally have the linebackers back because you don't have
to stack the box if they're not going to run the ball.
No, you don't. I mean, to point out the last game, Carolina is not the best example. They're not a great team, and they were up like majority of the game. They ended up having like almost 140 yards on the ground, but that was split between Emo Edmonds and then a little bit by Kyler, then Darrell Williams. But James Conner is not the back. What?
Panthers stink.
Panthers do stink. They're little.
Panthers are not good.
They're not good. They're not good at football. Baker stinks at football, but Christian McCaffrey is good at football.
Christian McCaffrey is a good football player. I'll give him that.
That's what they have. That might be a hint to something I take later that Matt's disgusted by. But right now, our defense, if we can keep Kyler from getting any big run plays and be able to keep a linebacker near him, on him, and shut down that connection with him and Hollywood, because I even thought before the year when they played together at Oklahoma, it was a great connection together, and they're only starting to pick it up more and more. He's trying to find him more. If we can shut down that connection and Kyler like scrambling, I think they're not gonna be able to move the ball. Like they're gonna have a very hard time moving the ball on us.
I agree. One of my keys to the game in almost any game is always to shut down the run game and make the quarterback beat you, because there's only so many quarterbacks in the league that can truly beat you through the air, like if you let them. And Kyler Murray is a middle of the pack guy with that. Sometimes he can, sometimes he can't. He's a little frantic. He throws picks. So I would like to see us get a lot of pressure on him. First of all, I'd like to see us blitzing him and getting on top of him. Making him uncomfortable per usual. That's the same old that I always say. But the thing that I want that you touched on is the fact that we have to keep him in the pocket. Kyler's obviously a really good scrambler. Just the other week you saw that scramble where they're on the 5-yard line. He scrambled for 80 yards and ended up running in the touchdown. He can keep plays alive, and he is definitely a little bit of a magician with that. So I'd love to see the Eagles using wide 9 formations with their edge rushers. Just lining them up about a half a step further outside, making sure they keep contained, and maybe with mixes of calls, have a quarterback spy back there. You got to game plan for Kyler on the ground, because he's gonna hurt us on the ground at certain points. It's bound to happen in the game. There are going to be times where he will get out of the pocket and scramble for 10, 15 yards, and we're going to be pissed off about it.
It's just annoying. And yeah. I mean, he's a very athletic guy. Like he's a guy he's a first round draft pick in baseball. Like he has a cannon. He's just a little short.
He's a very talented guy. Yeah, he's just he's still young. He's short. It does actually make a difference. So I think that once again we got to make Kyler beat us, but we got to keep him contained, because if you let him loose, he will hurt you for sure.
Yeah. Now, and just to a point in the entire game that this is people. I'm glad that I saw a press conference. I think it was Wednesday, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm phrasing it wrong, but Jalen was getting interviewed, and he was saying, like, at the end of the press conference, like, you guys didn't even like ask questions about Arizona. Like, where are the Arizona questions? Like, they're a talented team, blah, blah, blah. So a lot of people think this is like a trap game for us. We're going to Arizona, and then like we have Dallas next week on Sunday Night Football, because that's like obviously Dallas Eagles. But like I think we're taking it 1 week at a time, and I love that for the Eagles. And I really think that this team is taking it like very serious, like every week by week. They're not looking ahead, not looking behind. They're just, what can we do to progress? And I really love that. And I just think I don't know what I don't see. We haven't done anything. What's this? Drop my mic. Anything crazy like bad that makes me like even scared about this team at all. Like
I agree.
I think like about 23 times in that speech.
No worries, dude. I think you made a really good point about Jalen Hurts saying stuff about the Cardinals defense. I think it shows a lot about the team's mentality. That's our leader, and clearly, it doesn't matter what these fans are thinking. It doesn't matter if we're saying Super Bowl, Super Bowl. It doesn't matter if we're saying we're the best team in the league, or you got guys like Colin Cowherd saying that we're not even up there. Everybody has their own opinions. We do not care, clearly. You got the leader of the team saying, all right, where are the questions about this team this week? That's all he's thinking about. Where are the questions about their defense? Where are the questions about how I'm going to read their zone? Yeah. He's a thinker. He always has been. He's a smart guy. And I think that shows that the Eagles, they're not going to listen to the outside rumblings. They're going to play their football. I don't think you should worry about them being in a trap game. It definitely is going to be a weird game because, like you said early on, the Cardinals are a weird team. They have talent. They were a good team last year, but so far it looks like they're a bad team. So there's no saying if they could step it up at any second or if they'll stay down where they're at right now. If they stay where they're at, I think this is an easy game for us. But it's early in the season still. Everyone likes to make overreactions. We're not even a quarter of the way through the season. Like it's gonna be things are gonna change. Things are gonna be different. So I think, like I said, I think the Cardinals are a decent team. But I wanted to say I think this is a good time to put out my score prediction. I think that we should absolutely destroy this team. Honestly, I hate to say that. I know you've said that before. I think that we, after last week, we didn't get to pass the ball a whole lot.